The first question we're going to cover is this. You don't need religion to have morals. If you can't determine right from wrong, then you lack empathy, not religion. And so I have a number of these memes. If we don't get enough questions from a non-Christian perspective, I'll use the memes. And just in case anybody's wondering, if you're a Christian but you have a question from a non-Christian perspective, you're welcome to put that in the chat. I want to answer the questions that non-Christians ask. That's the goal of today's live stream. And we do this every Friday at 1 p.m. and you're always welcome to come and ask any questions from any perspective you like. I just want to especially highlight those kinds of questions today. So, this I've seen before many times in different forms, this particular meme that we're looking at on the screen while you guys are loading your questions in the chat. You just put a capital Q to put your question in if it's your first time. So it says you don't need religion to have morals. This is obviously meant to be a response to religion or to religious people or claims that religious people are making. Sometimes when you respond to a claim, though, you're misrepresenting people in that you pretend they're making a claim they're not making. And in this case, at least with Christianity, we don't say you need religion to have morals. Like, this is something, and I know some Christians think fuzzy about this issue, and they might even say that you don't have morals without religion. Well, no, actually, even Christianity teaches non-believers have morals. This is in Romans 1. In fact, it's one of the reasons why God brings judgment to people is because they do know right from wrong, whether or not they're Christian, whether or not they have any particular religion. They know right from wrong. This is given as a granted in Scripture. It is from, and also when you look around the world, everybody's aware of moral truth, even though it's viewed slightly different ways in different cultures. But there's still a sort of a grounding of moral belief that is just permeates society, and only when you get into certain degrees of higher education can someone talk you out of it. I mean, it's and they shouldn't. I think that's lower education in higher education, but that does happen. So Christianity is actually teaching the opposite. It's teaching that you have morals, right? So he says if you can't determine right from wrong, then you lack empathy, not religion. And that's a clumsy, in my opinion, a clumsy way of saying it. I would say if you can't determine right from wrong, you lack moral discernment. I don't know about empathy exactly, because empathy is one tool in determining right from wrong, but there are other tools. And if empathy is our only moral tool, we will actually make bad moral judgments. And I think this happens in our culture today. Take, for instance, I'll just be controversial, take the abortion issue. People have empathy for women and women's rights, so they feel as though they should support abortion. But that empathy is here putting them off the rails because they're not thinking of the living human being who, there's no debate on this. Babies from the moment of conception are A, alive, and B, human. Living human being. There's no empathy for that person, that human being that's alive. And so we have empathy as a rule for our moral gauge. That empathy can really mess things up, actually, if that's our only tool. So here's where religion comes in. If religion is false, it's a bad tool for discovering moral truth. Islam is an example, I think, right? So in Islam, there's such things as honor killings. Honor killing a family member. If they turn from Allah and they become a Christian, an atheist, something like that, then you can actually kill them to restore your family's honor. It's okay to spread your religion through the sword. That's a bad moral rule because Islam is a false religion. But let's just say hypothetically for the non-believer, think of it this way. If you had God himself who could come and speak clarity about moral truth into the diverse and confused human world where we know that morals are real, but we often struggle with understanding what's right at the right moment, that would be a wonderful blessing, wouldn't it? To have that discernment and direction from God. So the next question is Christianity true? If I can show it's true, then I can have accurate and clear moral truth. So when we see these claims, you don't need religion to have morals. No, that's not something we're claiming, that you do have to have religion to have morals. Although religion, if it's true, any religion that's true would be a good tool to add to our empathy, along with other things, to understand morals better and engage more morally in society. So I think that's just for the sake of clarity. On the flip side, while I'm still waiting for my first questions to come in, on the flip side, I'd also add that there's a moral argument for God that's really interesting. And it's not you need God in your life as a person to have morals. This is something very, very different than that. I hope you hear me. It's instead is this idea that if morals are real if we're all around the world perceiving morals as an objective reality, not just hardline moral rules that you apply always without consideration of circumstances, but rather morals as just an objective reality, then that implies that there's some sort of moral source. There's a God, I think is the best explanation, that God is the grounding for moral truth because he's a personal and holy being. And this in Christian theology, God is holy. That becomes the grounding of moral truth, so that when we all look around and we go, hey, that's right, that's wrong, we're not making it up. We're actually looking into the world and we're perceiving moral realities that are stemming from God's very nature. But if there was no God, it's hard to explain those moral realities without some things that sound pretty fanciful.